Greetings, people of YouTube. It's your boy Zelkulad here, back with another episode of Rockmanholic Fire. And in today's episode, we're going to be talking about 5 different Mega Man action figures that I managed to buy off of Macari. Now, this took a long while for me to actually make this an episode, or at least behind the scenes. Because by the time this episode comes out, you guys have already seen episodes 4 and 5. But those episodes were made months ago. I just now got around to editing those videos. But I finally managed to get this one specific Mega Man figure that I actually wanted to show off on this channel, and that's what kind of took so long. In fact, while I was gathering the packages, because I also had ordered some other figures at the time, I just didn't bother opening them. I was trying to making sure that I didn't confuse the one of the packages with the Mega Man ones. And the very first package that I received a long time ago dated back since May. Yup, since May. I was like, holy shit, I kind of forgotten about this. And there were other Mega Man figures I also ordered around that time period too. Like I ordered some from May, some in June and July, and just recently one just arrived in August, which actually took a long ass while to get here. And trust me, I'm gonna talk about that when we get to that. But we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I can't even fit it on the screen because it really is a big ass package, and you'll see what's inside of it in a second. Yup, this is gonna be a, well, I wouldn't say as exaggerated as, episode 2, where I had various Mega Man figurines to talk about. This is more or less just a very small one in comparison to that one, but it's still going to be pretty big because there's going to be a lot of figures to talk about. And trust me, there's going to be a lot to talk about. And I've actually been very excited to make this episode. I actually love making these videos of me just buying Mega Man merch and just showing them off camera, because it takes one step closer for me to make that one Mega Man video that I've been wanting to make for years now. But at the time I just didn't know how to do that, because a lot of these Mega Man figures are very expensive, but I managed to get very good deals on majority of them. There are some that are pretty expensive that I spent my money on. And yeah, that thing from episode 4 is still like kind of relevant to this day, where it's just like irresponsibly purchasing a lot of Mega Man crap. But I just do it because of the sake of me trying to make that Mega Man action figure evolution video, as well as because I'm just a huge Mega Man fan and I just love collecting Mega Man figures. And with that being said, let's get on to the first package, shall we? Now, the very first package we're going to be taking a look at is this blue one. Now, you can tell that this package has been sitting in my room for a while. This is the one that's been lying there since May. You can already see that the tape is kind of already peeling off, and this one also was under my bed for like months until I had to put it in some container so it wouldn't like deteriorate. It was also covered in dust, which I am heavily allergic to dust, if I'm being honest. So I think it was the right call for me to put it in a container where it's like dust free. Alright, and it's probably the easiest package to open on camera, because all I have to do is just take this shit out. And tiny little box. What the fuck? Oh, I guess I need to get my X-Acto knife for this one and open this up. And let's see what's inside. Oh, I remember this now. It's the Toy Biz era Mega Man figure from the video game Superstars Marvel vs. Capcom toy line. Yeah, I was pretty stoked to get this guy in the mail. I've been looking for one of these for a good long while, and there was one that was in much better condition than this, but unfortunately I didn't buy it and ended up regretting it. And finding these things out in the wild, like more in better condition, is very hard. But I just wanted to get a hold of at least one of them. So yeah, Toy Biz made their own Mega Man figure back in 1999. This was released like 2 years after Marvel vs. Capcom 1 came out. And these were like sets of 2-pack figures that came with one Marvel, one Capcom figure. Although I feel like those Marvel figures were already just figures that were previously been released on other toy lines, but the Capcom figures are mostly new. And they only made 4 packs, unfortunately. They didn't make the other characters, but hey, at least they got Captain Commando, which is probably like one of the only 2 Captain Commando figures to exist, because there was another one that came out not too long ago. But it's in a much smaller scale. In fact, it's even smaller than the Toy Biz version. But this Mega Man 1, even though he's all scuffed up, he actually surprisingly aged pretty well. In terms of the chrome paint, because yeah, the chrome is like rubbed off over the years, and he is a bit, yeah, again, he's not in very good condition, but the blue is what all that matters, because the thing with these Mega Man Toy Biz figures is that they turn purple over time, and I don't know why they do that. Maybe it has something to do with the air that causes it to go purple. It is probably one of the only few times where this figure actually still retains like the mostly metallic blue color. I might ask somebody to paint over this thing to give it back its shiny chrome finish again, because I do know a couple of people who are really good at doing that. And unfortunately, this thing does not come with his battle armor accessory or even the missile launcher, because of course these kind of Mega Man figures do not come with these kind of accessories. But I'm still happy that I got it. Honestly, this is probably a much more game accurate Mega Man to have come out at the 90s than the Ruby Spears figure, since that one's more based on the cartoon. This was more game accurate. In fact, you could easily tell they based this off the artwork from MVC. This is a very game accurate Mega Man. It's kind of sad that this figure looks more accurate to his game counterpart than the Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite figures that Hasbro made years later, which just looked like complete ass. And even some other Mega Man figures that would have come out later on during the early 2000s. Which I did order those figures as well. But I'm still very happy that I've got this guy. He may not be completely brand new or have all his shit, but hey, this is still a really cool Mega Man figure and one for the collection. With that out of the way, let's get on to the second package. This is a I have to open this off camera because I was actually struggling a lot with this thing, because Jesus F. God, these style of packaging just don't want to open when they want to. It's like I have to be Hercules to open this thing. Like, how deep does this fin go? Like, look at this. It's one of those packages where you just slide this thing in and it's just like really long, and oh, bubble wrap. And yeah, remember when I said that the Mega Man figures from the 2000s look a lot worse than that? Yeah, here's an example of that. Yeah, I actually went around and bought this thing. Behold, what is arguably one of the ugliest Mega Man figures to have ever exist in any Mega Man action figure collection. This is the like the 2005, 2004 Jazzwares Mega Man. Now, this isn't the first time we've taken a look at a Jazzwares figures. In fact, we did take a look at the Retro Roto line not too long ago, and hell, even I made an episode dedicated to those figures specifically. And this is one of their more articulated figures, and oh boy, this is rough. Like, I don't know what's with companies back in the day when they make figures based on video game characters that just kind of look off. And it's even weirder because this came out almost 6 years after this thing, and this thing already looks more like Mega Man. And here we got, well, I can't even tell if that's the chest or the torso of this thing, because it's very wide for some reason. It's so wide that it looks like he has muffin tops, and his fucking groin is pretty small. His arms are elongated. He's got Lanky Kong arms. And speaking of lankiness, like, his legs are very skinny. Like, I know, like, Mega Man isn't exactly, like, a very proportionate character, but he's not Sonic the Hedgehog, where it's, like, impossible to make a good action figure out of that guy. This is Mega Man. Like, he's more humanoid than all these other characters. Like, it's probably more easier to make a Mega Man figure at that point than it was to make a Mario or Sonic figure. Even though nowadays those figures have better engineering, well, this one did not. In fact, his legs can... Oh, I know it can move. He does have... For some reason, he has a rotation at the feet. And he has ball joint at the foot. Oh, that's very interesting. It doesn't... Actually, no, it just swivels back side to side. It seems like he has a ball joint, but it doesn't seem that it doesn't work properly. Could be either this figure's not engineered properly, or it's just... It's probably just because of that. Because this thing's very disproportionate. Just look how awkward. He looks yellow on camera, but I assure you, he's not yellow. He actually has a regular peach tone color. It's just the camera just makes him look even worse. And that's kind of funny. Yeah, this is a very awkward Mega Man figure. And keep in mind, this is probably somebody's childhood toy that they had to grow up with years ago. And they probably don't even know what the hell Mega Man is. Although around this time, probably the anniversary collection was already out at that point, so they probably only got this because he looked cool. Which Mega Man is cool, but not this figure. In fact, look at the Mega Buster. Look how bullshit this looks. Like, it doesn't even have a launching gimmick. Which is funny because this one, despite not having a proper launching gimmick, since this one's more like one of those missile flick things, like the really crappy missile launchers, he still had one. Hell, even the Ruby Spears had like a missile launching gimmick. This one is just poop. It looks really badly molded, and yeah, there's some people might say it's dusty as hell because, well, the guy who sold it to me probably didn't dust it properly. I'm probably gonna have to clean these up later on. And even though I talk massive crap about this thing, I still like it. In fact, this thing actually does come with a removable fist, which I don't want to remove the fist of this thing because I'm afraid it's gonna break. Because I'm not sure like how durable these figures are. But what the hell? It doesn't have a head rotation? What the shit? Wow, he does not rotate at the head. Or maybe he does, maybe it's super glued in, or maybe he just doesn't. But wow, he doesn't rotate at all. That's fucking dumb. But even then, after all those complaints, I still appreciate having this guy in my collection. And what's cool about the Jazzware figures is that they come with these little tiny minifigures of various Mega Man characters. This is Eddie? I'm sorry, I got distracted with his lack of mouth, which I could have swore he had one, and from the photos I've seen. There aren't too many photos of Eddie on the internet from the Jazzwares line, because most people don't properly take photos of this guy, but what the fuck happened to Eddie? He looks nothing like Eddie. Like, I guess they're probably based it off the sprite, because he has no mouth in that one, but this one just looks awkward. Like, there's certain details just look like it's missing. He looks very basic, and keep in mind, somebody approve of this. Somebody, either at Jazzware or Capcom, looked at this as like, yeah, it's fine. And holy god, this thing looks... And the weird thing about this thing, it doesn't really open from the head like he does in the games. It's just a standard minifigure, which, again, is appreciated, but it's probably not one of the best figures out there. Especially for Eddie. Maybe Jada Toys would probably make a proper Eddie figure. I mean, I'm surprised that they made really good Mets figures. And they're gonna release it in that upcoming Mega Man figure that's gonna be released soon. I'm aware that there's a fucking San Diego Comic-Con exclusive 6-pack for some reason, and people are selling it up the wazoo. Like, I'm not gonna spend $60, $70 on basically the same fucking figure with barely any, like, other things that come with it. So, yeah, no thanks. Now, we're not actually done talking about Jazzwares just yet, because I did manage to order another Jazzware Mega Man figure, except this is a vast improvement over this first one we've taken a look at, because you think this might be the only figure that they made that's articulated. Oh, no. There's actually a second version that they made later on. And I managed to actually get it for about 30 bucks. And I was very excited to get a hold of this, because not only that this figure is very hard to come by, but I also got it in packaging too. And that means that I got this thing with all of its accessories, everything else. Now, the seller did told me, from what I remember, that the packaging is about to open up. So, the good news is I might end up taking this thing out of packaging because this probably hasn't been played with in years. And here we have is the version 2 Jazzwares Mega Man figure. Gotta adjust the size a little bit for this thing. Yep. What you're looking at is a almost never before opened figure. Well, like I said almost because this thing is popping off because the glue hasn't been held in for too long. But other than that, like, yeah, you could see that for the first version and the second version, like, hang on. Yeah, it's a vast improvement over the first one. First off, it's a lot more proportioned to how Mega Man actually looks. And secondly, he does not look like a monstrosity. I mean, he still kind of does because that face looks a bit wall-eyed. But other than that, yeah, it's a massive improvement over this thing. And what makes this figure a lot more harder to get a hold of is because most of the time when you see the version 2, you'll instantly recognize it with a yellow and blue color scheme, which is supposed to be based on its napalm bomb ability from Mega Man 5. And those are the versions that you commonly see a lot. And it's really hard to find the blue variant. But luckily, I managed to find the exact one I'm looking for about $30, I think it was $35 I paid for this thing. And not only that, it's still in packaging. And you can see that the other figures in this line, you can see that they have Vile, they got Black Zero, Red Zero, Mega Man, and Axel. I kind of forgot about to call him Vile, but I don't give a shit about Axel most of the time. And then you got a Scarfless Proto Man base, I call him Cut Man, a Quick Man figure, Mega Man, and another Mega Man, which I'm presuming it was Napalm Blast Mega Man and Ice Wall base. And these are presumably the version 2s of these action figures because they don't look nearly as lanky or weirdly proportioned as the previous ones. And I'm going to assume that Mega Man over there is supposed to be like his Tri-Thunder Mega Man, or at least like the one ability he had in X3. And I know people are probably going to be asking me would I keep the packaging, and yes, I'm still going to keep the packaging. I know some collectors don't like to keep the packaging, but I do for certain figures because these look nice, and honestly, it's kind of like, it's like going back in time and, 50th anniversary. Gee, I wonder what game got released around that time. But anyway, what's cool about this packaging is like you don't really see this style of packaging, not in terms of like this, but like all these cool Mega Man art. You could see like they put a lot of really cool detail in this thing, and also I just noticed like the background on this thing is based on Mega Man 7. And speaking of 7, oh, that logo's from X7. Holy shit, it's like one of the worst games. Now, I'm gonna try to carefully open this thing to the best of my abilities, because I really want to mess around with this thing. After 10,000 years, he's finally freed. And I just realized since these figures came out in 2005, this fucker's been in the package for 20 fucking years. We finally got this Mega Man out of packaging, and again, he looks very discolored on video. I don't know what the hell's wrong with this camera that's doing that, because I assure you he does not look like this on camera. Now, just messing around with this guy, since he hasn't been out of the package for like about 20 years, he still feels in very good condition. He's very stiff, because obviously he hasn't been played with. His joints are still nice and tight. They can still hold their pose very fine. And yeah, they managed to improve a lot of the first figure. Like, you can look at this night and day. Like, one that looks like the deformed red-headed stepchild, and the other one looks more accurate, but not exactly, because the face just looks... It's like Mega Man has seen some shit. It's like he saw fucking base breastfeeding Dr. Wily.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But other than that, like, it's a massive improvement, but I still wouldn't say it's the proper classic Mega Man figure that every fan should get a hold of, which, I mean, they should, but I wouldn't use as the, the main Mega Man for this thing. While he does look a lot nicer, there are some areas where he did discolor. I just noticed that bits of his foot and arms in some areas are slightly discolored, because they're a lot more darker than they usually are. Oh wow, thanks Foam for doing that. My alarm went off and it cut off half the shit I was gonna say. So yeah, this figure may look... I feel like it might be slightly discolored, because I know that a lot of these old Jazzwares Mega Man figures tend to discolor a lot. I even saw there was a 10-inch version of this figure that is kind of piss-ass yellow. But thankfully this one doesn't look like it's piss yellow. I think it's just darkened over time. This may have been a much more of a lighter shade of blue, because this one looks different compared to the legs and the arms and even his underpants. Even the removable fist, which yes, he does have one, is slightly... yeah, you can tell it's slightly discolored. But other than that, he's a really nice looking Mega Man figure, and if you notice, he has a hole in his Mega Buster, because this thing actually has a missile launching gimmick. And this thing hasn't been used in 20 years, so let's see if I can get this thing on there. Can I get it on? Oh, I have to like push that little button in so I can get this thing in there. Let's see. It's probably the first... Hang on. There we go. It's probably the first time you're gonna see a Mega Man action figure that, actually is complete and has all of the accessories with a missile launching gimmick. Let's put this fucking asshole here and...
Eat laser, you big meanies! Uh-oh, that was my last bullet.
Oh god, I actually like that. Hang on, I'm gonna do that again. Dude, hang on. He shouldn't die. Sorry, it's the inner kid in me that just missed these kind of features on these kind of figures. Oh god. That reminds me of like those old Toy Biz 6-inch action figures that come with these stupid ass gimmick. People fucking hate them, but I think they're kind of neat because honestly, they were like the original fidget toys of that era. Who wouldn't want to shoot the fuck out of everything? Now, if you ever own this figure, make sure you push the button here and then make the missile go inside. Pretty sure that some kids probably damaged this thing over time, which is probably why it's hard to get this thing in new condition. And it's probably fucking annoying to deal with that, but other than that, it's a really cool Mega Man figure. And what's also cool about this thing is that he comes with Beat. Now, remember we taking a look at Beat like a long ass time ago, and I did say that the Beat figure can pass off as just your ordinary Beat figure. I feel like this one is a lot better than the Funko one, because this one actually looks more like Beat than the Funko one is. While the other one has some sort of chipified deformation, this one actually looks more like the character. So in fact, you can probably use this Beat figure for any other Mega Man figure in your collection, and honestly, it's a lot more better than the Eddie figure, I can tell you that. In fact, I'm gonna shoot Eddie. Like, come here, Eddie. And line up. Fuck you. But yeah, this is a really nice figure, and in fact, I'm still genuinely impressed that they managed to improve on the figure. I feel like they kind of were aware how shit the original figure was, but even then, like, by the time they were kind of getting around to, fixing the proportions on these things, Jazzwares would have lost the license, and they would just, do that with every other fucking figure based on video games that they get their hands on, like Sonic, Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and I know they have the FNAF license right now, but I mean, they also had Fortnite and Halo, so yeah, all those licenses, like, did not last too long. Because I don't know what happens on Jazzwares, but fuck. It's kind of shame that they lost the license to the Mega Man franchise, although, to be honest, around that point, especially since it was released on the 15th anniversary, Mega Man wasn't doing so well, because, well, X7 kind of killed any chances of Mega Man ever gaining popularity again. And they probably didn't think it was profitable to continue on. Either way you go about it, It is kind of sad that we lost what could have been a really good toy line, like the fucking Sonic toy line that they made later on, which those are really good figures too. They actually were crazy with that license. Shame that we never got most of those figures that they teased at Toy Fair and never came out for the Mega Man license. But that's not all for this thing. Also, I'm not even done talking about this thing yet, because while I was taking this thing out, this kind of just came out of the package. I don't know what this is, and there's tape on it. So I guess I could just open it up with, let's see. Can I open this up with an X-Acto knife? Because I don't exactly have scissors. Oh shit, no, don't do that. Now, this took a while for me to get the tape out of the, or at least cut the tape in half. I was trying to be as delicate as I could possibly be with this thing, since, again, this is 20 years old and I don't want to damage it. I did slightly damage some of the corners, or at least like the top of the picture, but it's not as noticeable, at least for certain people probably would be. I try to make sure that I don't damage it as much as possible, considering the fact that, again, I want to preserve this. And if you're wondering, like, what this thing is and why the figure suddenly moved away, because I tried to film this part and I realized the thing, it was overly big. Yeah, surprisingly. And in this little paper, you think it might be a, one of those pamphlets or promos of, what upcoming Mega Man toys is going to come out. Nope. It's a poster for Rockman Complete Works 4. Yeah, I'm actually genuinely surprised that they would even include a poster for a Mega Man action figure. I bet you probably a lot of kids didn't even know this was a poster. I bet you a lot of these were damaged because that tape was super strong. They should have even put tape on this thing, because the tape almost completely damaged this thing. You can see how, like, it's slightly yellowed. And I tried my best to try to get this thing to cut in half. I tried even pricking it with a thumbtack just to see if I could split it open like that. I tried using my X-Acto knife, but I almost damaged it, as you can see in this little corner. That's where it kind of almost happened. But other than that, yeah, I was genuinely surprised. Oh, 2004. So this figure came out in 2004, not 2005, so this thing's 21 years old. And at least Mega Man can now legally drink, I guess. But honestly, it's a really nice poster, and I think I might actually consider buying a frame for this thing. First, I'm going to have to flatten this thing out, because, yeah, this thing has been rolled for so many years, and it's been folded as well, which I don't know who the hell was doing this, or who was packaging all this stuff, but whoever you are, you're kind of an asshole, but I managed to get this thing open better than what most little kids who own this thing did, so I don't know. There probably might have been other posters from other Mega Man figures that was released, but who knows. And also there's Eddie. He actually looks a lot better than the action figure. And you have like Dr. Cossack with all his robot masters, Dustman, Ringman, Skullman, Drillman. There's Sprite Man, Pharaoh Man, and oh wow, they left out fucking Dive Man. Like, he's just a fucking torso. I think, for what I understand, like, when they were doing the cover for this game, they only managed to crop out certain parts of the poster. And I think the artist just didn't bother drawing the head of Dive Man, because they didn't expect anyone would see him, but once you saw the full image, it's like, yeah, he's got no fucking head. And then you have Kalinka right there, chained up. And there's Mega Man and Rush. Honestly, really nice. I kind of wish that... Actually, I kind of miss back when older toys used to have, like, comic books and posters, because it actually gave you, like, either some information about the characters, or just gave you a really cool collectible. And I think this poster is really neat. It may not be something that many people are excited for nowadays, but I actually do think posters are fucking cool. I just can't really display them because of my liminal space I live in right now. Again, I might try finding a frame for this thing and, try, put it somewhere. But I'm going to try to, flatten this thing out and try to get it back to its former glory, because it is a bit messy. But other than that, it's a really nice fucking poster. I'm definitely going to keep this out. Now, we're going to be taking a look at our last two packages. And this package is kind of special because you already kind of saw this figure already in the last episode. But I managed to buy it again. And I did say I was going to do that. So I'm going to open this thing up. And just rip this fucking thing because I have no use for this style of packaging. And here we have is the two figures. And I think you can already see who they are. Well, that took a while. I could just, rip the bubble wrap like some sort of Neanderthal, but I tend to normally keep the bubble wrap just so I can recycle it when I ship out my own crap at Macari. But after all that, here are the two figures that we already taken a look at, but this time they're loose. We got Mega Man! Yeah, the Retro Roto Mega Man. I did say I was gonna get it loose, and honestly, despite this figure being loose, he's actually in pretty nice condition. And not only that, we also got Proto Man! Yeah, I got both these figures for, I think I bought these together for 25 bucks from the same seller. I was trying to see if I could buy these two together, and luckily I was able to do that. And I made a deal with the seller, and I got these things for 25 bucks, and honestly, it was worth it to me at least, because not only did I get my childhood toy back and I can actually, mess around with this thing again, but I also got Proto Man out of box. So now that Shadow Man is not going to be the only one that's loose out of box. Although I still want to get a hold of Shadow Man in box, and I still am looking for Guts Man. Now technically the only figure I'm missing from this line would be the fully charged Mega Man Build-A-Figure, which, again, as of this video, I still have yet to find one, especially buy one, because I found one from a seller and they never responded back to me, so I just never, got around to buying it, and I wasn't going to buy from a seller that honestly just doesn't want to respond or ghost people, so fuck that person. But not the person who gave me these two, because honestly, thank you a lot for these two great figures. I really, really appreciate it. And honestly, I'm just taking it back to memory lane when I first got this thing in CVS so many years ago. And now that I got Proto Man, I actually feel pretty happy. I feel pretty good about myself. I basically got both the brothers together at last. And again, I could go on and on about these things, but honestly, I just this is just my childhood nostalgia just talking. Now, yeah, they still have the ball joints to kind of still work, but I'm not gonna move around too much because, like I said before, that's how my first Mega Man figure lost his hands, because there's a double ball joint inside, and because the hands are hollowed out, including the Buster, they will get stuck inside of there, and that would just be terrible. So I'm just not gonna bother moving the arms and cannon around for both these figures. And you can kind of already see what the general articulation for these things. They have rotation at the head, they can move up and down, they do have a ball joint for the arm cannons, and just swivel at the legs, and just a waist rotation. That's about it. And these figures are mostly just made to be more like vinyl figures. They weren't really meant to be actual action figures so you could use them pose. Although I kind of wish the figures were like this, because these actually look a lot more nicer than the 6-inch articulated ones, because they're more accurate to the art style of, well, Mega Man. But like I said before, Jazzwares lost the license and they never bothered with the character ever again. And that's the end of their story. And that's gonna be the end segue for these two, because like I said, we already talked about these before, so there's not much for me to say other than, I just have them in hand, just messing around with them. And then finally, our last fucking package that we have. And this is a gargantuan motherfucker, because this is a figure I actually wanted to get a hold of for the collection, and it took so long for me to get a hold of it. And no, it's not the D-Arts Mega Man, although I'm still waiting to find that figure for a very good price. This is a big guy. Big Mega Man action figure. How big exactly? Well, we're gonna just have to open this thing and find out. Here he is! Look at this big gargantuan motherfucker. This is the 12-inch talking Mega Man action figure, and oh boy, this is a pretty big motherfucker. Yup, I received this package like not too long ago. I think it was around Thursday when I received it in the morning, which I wasn't expecting to arrive in the morning because most of my package arrived at like the afternoon or some shit. But this right here, this is one of my holy grails of my collection. I actually had a chance of buying this thing many years ago for like when they were selling this thing for like 25 bucks, but I never got around to buying it. Because it wasn't a thing that I was heavily into, because this was like, again, it's like a massive fucking figure. And I unfortunately never got lucky owning this thing. And that's what actually kept me from buying this thing. Because, again, it took so long for me to find one that's in a good price. Some of these were selling for $50 to $60 to $80 even. And some of them that were being sold for $20, I feel like they were scam. So I never bought those things. And there was another one that just recently was shown up in Mercari for 18 bucks. But it didn't have the packaging. I could have gone the ones that were loose without packaging, but I wanted to get a hold of the packaging because without the package, it just wouldn't look nice. And I'm genuinely happy that I got this. This actually took a long ass time for me to get this shipped to me because the seller was very busy with their personal life, and honestly, I didn't want to be that kind of asshole to pester them, to ramble on about like where the hell my thing is, because I wasn't that kind of person. They were also very nice to me, so I didn't want to be rude to them. And thank you a lot for, sending me this thing. Just having this in my collection is massive. And this thing, it does have lights and sound, so I wonder if it still works. Yup, it still did. I'm not sure how well that picked up. But yeah, the lights and sound still works. It may be a little bit muffled because it has the batteries for so long. But I'm kind of glad it didn't fucking corrode. Which I'm surprised it didn't fucking corrode, because this thing was released back in it was around the 30th anniversary, but these kind of merch didn't came out until 2018, so we're almost at the tail end of that fucking year. Like 30 more years and this thing would have been 10 years old. Would batteries even last that long? Well, I'm gonna have to open this thing. And here we have it after, again, another long-ass while. I finally managed to get this thing out of packaging. And it kind of took a while because it not only had one of those, rubber band things that was holding this, body part together, but it also had this thing which I never encountered in an action figure or toy ever. These weird-looking butt plug things that are screwed underneath Mega Man's feet. They're supposed to, like some sort of security thing to keep him in check. I guess the safe word is Wowie. But holy cow, this thing is massive. This is 12 inches of Mega Man right here. And it is probably one of the largest figures in my collection. Not probably is the largest, because the largest would have been the Marvel Legends Spider-Man 2 Venom figure, which I do own. That figure is only 11 inches tall. And this towers this motherfucker by another inch. Yep, this is a really nice looking Mega Man figure, and it's kind of sad that Jakks Pacific, the company that made this figure, this is the only classic Mega Man figure they did. Because you think they would have done something similar to what they did with World Nintendo, prior to this, but no. The only thing that Jack Specific ever did is just make figures for that one shitty Mega Man cartoon, and for some reason the figures on those are very expensive, despite the fact the show's not very good. And that one 2-inch Mega Man figure from Mega Man 11, which is the only Mega Man 11 figure to exist at the time. So yeah, unlike Jazzwares, where they were more experimental and had more variety with its figure line when they had the license, Jakks wasn't, unfortunately. They kind of just shit out a bunch of dumb figures, and that was it. And again, like, I don't know what's with companies who own the license to Mega Man. Like, you have, like, the vast variety of Mega Man characters at your display. Why don't you fucking utilize it? Hey, at least Jada Toys is doing it. Hell, at that point, they're already making more Mega Man figures, and they're already releasing, like, Gutsman and Bomb Man. So we're finally getting all 6 of the original Robot Masters, finally, in action figure form. So Jada's more dedicated with its toy line than any other fucking company who had the license to the Blue Bomber. And it's kind of sad, and Jakks is probably the worst with this. But they did give us a really cool Mega Man figure. And those were released during the 30th anniversary too, and you can see that it has Ice Slasher, Rolling Cutter, and Hyper Bomb as its projectile. Yeah, this thing actually has an instruction manual in case you don't know how to play with 16 inches of Mega Man. 12 inches. So it takes AAA batteries, so I'm probably going to replace the batteries for this thing soon because, again, like I said before, it did sound a bit muffled because it's been in packaging for years, so I'm probably going to have to take the batteries out after, I mess around with this thing. So I guess we could just take the rolling cutter and cut a Electman with it, which I don't have an Electman figure on display except for the one in the Retro Roto line that's up there, but I'm not going to grab him. I'm just going to probably show up the other guys, so let's see how this works. Oh, it just plugs in. Have articulation at the elbow? Nope. It's just static. Wait, there's a demo mode for this thing. It says on, try me. Where the fuck is the sound? Is it playing the Cutman song? Hang on. But how do I shoot it? It's supposed to launch. Does it not launch? Huh. Hang on. The fuck? Why is it not launching? Does it... Let me look at the instructions again. It's supposed to... Seems like it's supposed to launch. Let's see. Each accessory weapon unlocks different background and weapon sounds. Inserting all 3 weapons activates a Wily stage. What the? Inserting all 3 weapons? I can insert more? How? Do I just like... I guess they act like sound chips. Let's see. Wait, that's not Iceman's theme. That's fucking Fireman's theme. What the hell? That is weird. Okay. And then let's see. Let's do Bomb Man's. Okay, it does play the Bomb Man theme song. I don't know where the song sound's coming from. Slightly disappointed this song doesn't launch. What the fuck? You think this would launch? It's like you have a big ass Mega Buster, you can't launch it. You just do all these sounds. Okay. So it just does a lot of noise. So it mentions that putting all 3 of these weapons together, like, basically unlocks it. How How the hell are you supposed to do that? Oh. Wow, the moment I dropped this thing, it just, So what happens if I put the thing again? That's guts, man, Steam. Okay, let's try rolling cutter again. Okay. That is Wily Stage 3 from Mega Man 1. That's a Legman Steam. And it says unlock Wily Stage theme, but I think that was the one. Okay, that is Iceman's theme. And again, I unlocked this theme again. And this thing has like over 35 activated sounds. I'm not sure if we just did every single one of it. But was it really gonna be playing the entirety of the Mega Man 1 soundtrack? Surprised it's not the Wily Mega Man 2 theme. I thought they would have added that since that's a more iconic one, especially since the head has the Mega Man 2 opening. Is that the fucking Yellow Devil boss theme? And then did it stop? Well, that was the most interaction I ever had with an action figure on this series. Like, there was what the fuck? Stop! Wow, that was intense. This that's where the sounds are coming. They're coming from his fucking mega dick. Huh. Maybe that's where all the Mega Man soundtracks coming from. It's just out of Mega Man's cock. But anyway, despite some issues I have with this thing, like, even though I do love this is like a really good looking Mega Man toy. And I will say, I wish this was in the 4-inch scale. I'm very happy that Jada Toys, they gave us good Mega Man figures. But I kind of wish Jax did something with this skull in this much more smaller scale. It just kind of wasted it. But even then, it's a really nice looking Mega Man figure. It's like, you could probably use this as a statue if you wanted to, which I don't care about statues, but hey, this thing has articulation. I think it only has 9 points, and my glove got stuck in this thing, and oh, what the fuck? That is the ugliest knee bend I've ever seen on a toy, especially on a Mega Man figure. Holy god, that's bad. That's bad. And he does have articulation at the arm, and I think you can swivel this thing? No, you can't swivel this thing. No, unfortunately, you cannot swivel the elbow, unfortunately, since this is part of the arm itself, and it only hinges from the elbow. But no, it doesn't swivel at all. So yeah, unfortunately, you can't swivel it at all. I think no, you can't swivel the Mega Buster. Some design choices I don't really agree with, but other than that, like, I mean, this is more like a figure made for like kids, so I'm not expecting too much. But as a grown-ass man that's been in love with the franchise since 2001, I still had some weird enjoyment out of this thing because this is something I would have loved as a kid. I know, or by the time I was like very young, Jazzwares were already put out. Sorry, I keep confusing the two companies because Jazzwares, Jax specific. Jazzwares did put out a 10-inch Mega Man figure, which I did mention before, and honestly, I probably would have loved it as a kid. Would I ever get that figure? Probably not. And hell, I'm not even gonna get the 2-inch Mega Man figurines that they somehow released back then. I don't know why they released that. I don't know who that meant for. And I probably would not include those in my Mega Man action figure evolution video, which I am still working on that. I just need a couple more figures to complete the entire collection, and I actually would get to recording it. But even then, like, despite some issues I had with this thing, because like I thought this thing would have, like, you know, launched the damn thing, but no. That's slightly disappointing. You expect the kids, like, would just, like, play with this thing, just shoot the projectiles out. I don't know why they didn't do that. It's kind of a missed opportunity, because you can clearly tell, like, these things could have been used to launch shit out. They're only just used as keys to activate sounds, which is, pretty, weak, if I say so myself. But other than that, it's still a nice looking figure. I'm gonna mention this a lot because I actually can't praise this thing. Like, out of all the companies that made Mega Man action figures, this is probably one of the second, or at least the best looking Mega Man figures ever made by a non-import company. Like, I love Jada Toys, and Jada Toys Mega Man is really good, but this right here looks, this is Mega Man. This is a really good Mega Man. I think third place out of this whole fucking thing would have gone to that thing over there. But other than that, like, it's a really nice figure. If you're like a Mega Man collector, I do suggest getting a hold of this thing. You're not gonna have, like, enjoyment just shooting shit up, because I know there's probably some of you guys who probably would enjoy doing that. But even then, a really nice piece for your collection. And with that being said, we're at the end of the video. I was going to try and include some other packaging that was not related to Mega Man, but I'm probably going to save that for a future video involving a certain franchise that's also Capcom related. But I didn't want to drag out the video for too long, and I feel like I'm already overdoing it with this video. I feel like this footage is going to be, like, in total, it's like about an hour long, because some segments have to be cut out because my alarm got turned on and cut the fucking footage in half. Thanks, fucking phone. But other than that, like, I did enjoy talking about these things. You can already hear me gushing over about these toys, some of which I've already, like, you know, had experience with, like this Retro Roto Mega Man figure, since that was my very first Mega Man action figure I ever got a hold of. But then just talking about these figures, seeing them just, you know, evolve. Like, actually, when you look at how I display them, like, how they were evolved. You got just to see how much they evolve over time. And like I said, I got more Mega Man figures. And I'm very excited to, like, have these guys in my collection. This is probably the most I ever had on a single character and franchise of any collections I have. And I'm an avid fan of Mega Man and Spider-Man and He-Man, and I have a lot of figures from those characters' franchises, but Mega Man is probably the one I have the most. I even have a dedicated box for Mega Man stuff, because that's how much they have gone out of hand. I mean, one of these days I could probably show you guys the box, even though I already did that with this Rockmanholic video, so it's kind of like, you know, redundant for me doing that, since most of it would just be figures that's already been shown. But even then, like, it just kind of shows you how much I enjoy Mega Man. I've been a fan of this franchise ever since I played X4 back in 2001, and since then, it's probably been the only thing I've been consistently a fan of. I enjoy the games, I enjoy the figures, and just having to talk about my interest on camera, and to everyone who's still watching my videos, I wanted to say thank you, because honestly, when I talk about certain things, some people just tell me to shut up and all that stuff, which is a pretty fucked up thing to say to someone. It's pretty messed up to shut down somebody's interest just because you don't want to hear about it. And that has happened to me a couple of times in the past. But even then, like, I'm not gonna let those assholes, like, just ruin my day or ruin my, my fixation and hobbies. Because I'm very passionate about this thing. I'm not gonna stop collecting these figures because, again, I thoroughly enjoy collecting these things. And I want to talk more about Mega Man on this channel. Now, I will say that I'm gonna slow down on Mega Man content for now, since unfortunately, like, we're almost getting close to collecting every single figure that's on my list, which I have to redo again because I lost my original list. But thankfully, most of the figures that we already taken a look at on this channel are already figures that are on the list or even been added to the list. Like the Bobblebuds figures, which I did not expect to even get a hold of those things, but I thoroughly like them. Because, again, some of these figures are probably something I would never get a hold of or collect, but that just kind of goes to show you that I just really like Mega Man. Probably a lot more than the other characters. And having fun with these things is like... I would have loved these guys growing up as a kid. Well, except for the 12-inch Mega Man, because that came out when I was already out of college. But the other ones, well, aside from the Retro Roto, I would have loved as a kid. And that's basically what this series was meant for. Not only just to unbox and show off Mega Man action figures, but also talking about them. As a very passionate fan of the franchise since 2001. And with that being said, this is your boy Zelkulad, and I'm gonna sign out. Until then, I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.